What the fuck? Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Katia, and if you are new to my channel, don't forget to join my family and hit that subscribe button. And if you are not new, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a very long time since I uploaded my last YouTube video, and that is because I recently just gave birth to my beautiful, healthy baby boy 2 months ago. And I honestly cannot believe, you guys, it has been 2 months. Like, time really does fly by when you have a baby. I really wanted to take that time to really focus on not only recovering from having a baby, but putting all my energy towards my newborn and focusing on myself as well, and kind of just learning how to become a mom. You know, I'm a first-time mommy. I didn't know what to expect, so everything was so new to me. So I really tried to take in that special moment in those 2 months to really get to know myself again, because, you know, I'm a completely different person. I'm not the same person I was 2 months ago, or even the same person I was before I gave birth. I'm a much better human being now, thanks to Xavier, which, by the way, Xavier is baby X. Baby X is my baby. But I am back and I am better, and I'm hoping I can be a little bit more consistent with posting my YouTube videos now that I'm 2 months postpartum and I kind of got a routine going in. Anyways, as you guys read by the title, today's video is going to be my labor and delivery story. I'm going to be telling you guys everything in detail that happened from the moment I walked into the hospital, from the moment I walked out. So many things happened during my hospital stay that I did not include in my labor and delivery vlog, which, by the way, if you have not watched my labor and delivery vlog, I'll link it down below for you guys to go check it out. So don't forget to check the description box after this video if you are interested on watching my labor and delivery vlog. But enough chit chattering, let's get right to the video. So if you guys have been keeping up with me in all of my pregnancy videos, then you know my original due date was March 17th, 2020, and I gave birth to my baby boy on March 25th, 2020. So I was a week overdue, and for some reason I knew in my soul I was gonna be overdue. I knew Xavier was gonna overcook in my belly, and I was right. So because I was overdue, I had to go in for an appointment, and they checked me for dilation, and I wasn't even close to a centimeter dilated, which was very frustrating for me because, you know, I went in with the mentality to my appointment, you know, I'm going to be 1 centimeter dilated, we're going to be making progress, which is my fault for ever going into this appointment with the mentality that I'm going to be dilated, because I wasn't, and that just made me sad and frustrated that my body wasn't getting started on its own, if that makes sense. So during that appointment, my OBGYN scheduled me for an induction on March 23rd. I was just happy that I finally had a date to go into the hospital to finally have this baby, because at this point in pregnancy, you guys, I was so over being pregnant. Everything hurted. Although I did have a smooth pregnancy, no nausea, no vomiting, nothing, towards the end of my pregnancy, everything started hurting. I was just over being pregnant, okay? And just keep in mind, you guys, I gave birth during a pandemic, during the whole COVID-19 situation. It was a week after they had placed the stay-at-home order for California. So not only me, but every pregnant woman from that day forward gave birth in a whole different experience that no one ever thought we would ever be in. The first time I gave birth, I thought I was gonna have my entire support system by my side, which included the father of my baby, my mom, and my sister. But unfortunately, due to the whole COVID-19 the hospital changed all their rules and I was only allowed one visitor during the entire stay at the hospital. Never in a million years did I imagine I would be giving birth during a pandemic without my mom or sister by my side. But it is what it is. I couldn't do anything about it. I was just ready to have this baby and go home. So it's the morning of March 23rd and me and my boyfriend say bye to my family and we head over to the hospital. And we have these N95 masks as we're walking in. Again, a whole different experience. Never did I ever imagine I'd be walking into the hospital with the big N95 mask. So we finally check in at labor and delivery, and I just remember walking up to the 3rd floor of the hospital, which is where the labor and delivery area was for my hospital. I was just so nervous, you guys. Like, I was sad because I didn't have my family. I was excited because I was gonna have my baby finally, someone that I was dying to meet since the first day I found out I was pregnant. I was feeling anxious, nervous, happy. I was feeling so many different emotions. I honestly couldn't even tell you at that moment what I was feeling exactly, because I was feeling everything. Like, my heart was actually racing walking up to the labor and delivery room. My number one fear of giving birth was always the pain that came with it. Although I've never experienced it, I've seen videos, movies, I heard stories, and me and pain don't go. My pain tolerance is very low. So I knew I was gonna have a very hard time dealing with the whole laboring process, but I kept telling myself I'm not the first woman to go through this, and if my body was made to do this, then I'm gonna be okay. So we finally get checked into our room, and it's this really big room with the couch and the bed and then the baby's little bed. You've guys seen a labor and delivery room, and if you haven't, I show you guys in my birth vlog. So again, if you haven't seen that, check it out. So we're getting settled in, we're unpacking our stuff, I'm putting on my gown, and then the nurse comes in and she finally puts my IV in, which is a fluid that keeps you hydrated during your labor. And honestly, I just remember that whole morning being like smooth sailing. It was just like pure relaxing. I got to eat whatever I want because they haven't said that I was not able to eat yet. So I was trying to take advantage of eating and drinking as much fluids as I possibly could before they told me I wasn't able to eat. So 5 p.m. rolls by on Monday, and my boyfriend and I decided to take a walk around the hospital hallways just because we've been there already for hours. I was sitting on the bed for a long period of time already. He was on the couch. We wanted to speed things up because the nurse said I was having contractions, but I wasn't feeling them. So I wasn't having strong enough contractions to the point where it was dilating me. We went on that walk, and then we came back, and I started my first I guess you can say round of Pitocin. So I got that, and hours went by. It was already Monday night and I still wasn't feeling any contractions. So 2:30 Tuesday morning came around and I started to get some contractions, but the contractions, again, they weren't strong enough to the point where I was in pain and I was asking for the epidural. It was still something I was able to handle. It was more of uncomfortableness, kind of like period cramps, but nothing too severe. So 6 a.m. Tuesday morning came around and I got even more contractions, and I have to say those contractions were the worst and painful contractions I had during my entire laboring process. I just remember being in bed and all of a sudden I get this like sharp pain in my lower area. I just remember yelling Dee's name to come help me, that I'm hurting, like I can't handle this. And I just remember him telling me to breathe, take deep breaths, and I'm just like there, like literally closing my eyes, clenching my fists because I was in so much pain. But again, it wasn't so much pain to where I wanted to ask for the epidural just yet. I wanted to see how long I can go without the epidural, because my mindset was I don't want to get the epidural too early, because what if it wears off when I'm about to push, but I don't want to get the epidural too late to the point where they tell me it's too late to get it. That was my mentality. I don't know why I was thinking that way. So a couple hours go by after those painful contractions I had at 6 in the morning. And the nurse comes in and the doctor comes in and checks me for dilation, and I'm only 2.5 centimeters dilated. When I heard I was only 2.5 centimeters dilated, you guys, I was sad. Because I've been there since Monday morning and it's already Tuesday morning, almost the afternoon, and I'm only 2.5 centimeters dilated. At this rate, I should already be like 4 or 5 according to the doctor. I kept telling myself, not to be too hard on myself. This is my body. Maybe my body needs more time. So I tried not to worry about it too much. But again, my mentality was like, oh my God, this is going to take forever. And so the doctor decides, because I'm only 2.5 centimeters dilated and I'm not dilating as fast as I should be, they decided to put in a balloon catheter into my vagina. And basically what that does is it helps you contract, which means it helps you open up. So I got that put in, and I had it in for a couple hours until it fell out. And when it falls out, it means you're 4 centimeters dilated. And then the doctor came back to check me, and I was 4 centimeters dilated. And I was so happy to find out I was 4 centimeters dilated. So after that happens, I remember I tried to take a nap because I was extremely tired. But I just remember I was taking a nap, and then I believe the nurse came in, and she comes in and she said, you're not having strong enough contractions, which is the reason why you're not dilating as fast. So we're gonna put in a second balloon catheter. So at that point I was just like, okay, well, I mean, if I need the help, I'm gonna take it. I just want to get this process going. I want to have this baby so I can go home. Because at that point, you guys, like, I was getting tired. Like, those hospital beds are so uncomfortable, and I just could not seem to get a good night's sleep. So they put in that second balloon catheter, and she said that it would fall out when I was 6 centimeters dilated, I believe. So I had that on for hours. And as those hours went by, I was still getting contractions, you guys, but they weren't strong enough, but I was still uncomfortable. So at that point, I asked the nurse for the epidural. So she said, great, let's get the epidural so you can be more comfortable. So they kicked D out of the room because he couldn't be there while I was getting my epidural. And during the epidural, you guys, like, I was scared as shit, okay? It wasn't as bad as I thought, because it was the guy giving me the epidural, and then I was sitting up on the bed, and then I was holding on to my nurse's hand, and she kept trying to calm me down because I was so nervous. I was like tensing up. And when you're getting the epidural shot, you're supposed to be as relaxed as you can, so he's able... What is the person that gives you the epidural called? I forgot the word. I felt the epidural kick in right away. I wasn't completely numb, but I felt the tingles going down my legs. I felt like my legs were starting to fall asleep. So DeMario comes back in, and at this point, because I got the epidural, I'm not allowed to get back up from the bed. I can't use the bathroom, so they put a catheter in me So when I pee, it falls into a little bag on the side of my bed. Gross, but that's what happens when you get epidural. So hours went by, and at this point, you know, I'm FaceTiming my mom, I'm FaceTiming my sister, and I keep telling them, like, you know, not yet, no baby yet, you know, I'm only so and so centimeters dilated, you know, they did this and this, and you know, I'm still stuck where I'm at. So then the nurse comes back in and she checks the balloon catheter that I have in my vagina, the second one, and she pulls it out because it was already starting to come out. It's about maybe like, I don't know, what time was it? Okay, I'm just gonna say it was like 5 or 6, and the doctor came in and checked me for dilation, and I was only 6 centimeters dilated. That's like hours after the nurse took out my second balloon catheter. Hours went by again. It was about maybe like 9, and she came to check me again for dilation, and I was still 6 centimeters dilated. So at this point, you know, I looked over to D, and I'm just like, okay, like, I had that face of like, I'm not dilating, I'm not contracting, so like, what is going on? The doctor didn't seem too worried at the time, so she said she would come back and check me for dilation in a couple of hours. So at this point, it's almost about 11 p.m. on Tuesday. And she checks me for dilation again, and I'm still 6 centimeters dilated. So she leaves, and then she comes back an hour later. So it's midnight, Wednesday morning, and she comes in with a whole bunch of nurses, and I'm just like, you know, what the fuck is going on? She gives me that look of like, it wasn't a worried look, but it's just like, it was a look of like, I'm about to tell you something and I don't know how you're going to take it. She proceeded to tell me, because she did break my water on Monday and I wasn't having strong enough contractions, which means I wasn't dilating fast enough. She told me that I was going to have an emergency C-section. Otherwise, me and the baby would be at high risk for an infection at the rate I was going. The moment she told me I was gonna have an emergency C-section, I just remember Dee running to me right away because I wanted to cry. And I still, Katya, you just did your makeup, do not cry. I always knew there was always a 50-50 chance on having a C-section and having a baby vaginally, but because I was already in the whole laboring process, I thought I was gonna give birth vaginally. But unfortunately, at the rate I was going, I wasn't contracting, I wasn't having strong enough contractions, which means I wasn't dilating fast enough. They had to do an emergency C-section. I just remember crying, you know. She was telling me, you know, all the steps they were gonna take to, you know, prep me, you know, prep D with his clothes, prepping the OR, the medicine I'm gonna have to take before they put me under. I just remember being so scared, you guys. Like, I was shaking. I was just like, I was fucking scared. Like, I never had a surgery before, and not having my mom and sister there to support me and hold my hand during this process made me even more scared. Yes, I had my boyfriend, and thank God for him at the time, because he was so supportive and he was very helpful and made me feel very safe and comfortable. But all I could think about is, I'm about to have a C-section. Where's my mom? you know? The doctor leaves to go prep herself for the surgery. And I call my mom on FaceTime, and it's about, again, like I said, 12 midnight. And I tell her, I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have to have a C-section. And all she said was, I knew it, you know? She said the same thing, you know, you weren't dilating fast enough and you've already been there for a long time. So she told me everything was gonna be okay, because my mom had C-sections as well. So I just kept asking her questions of, like, is it gonna hurt? Am I gonna be okay? And just stuff like that. And she just kept reassuring me that everything was going to be okay. So before they pulled my gurney into the OR room, me and Dee prayed before they took me, and we just prayed for a smooth surgery, that there was no complications, and that everything was going to come out smoothly. So as he's prepping himself to go into the operating room with his hairnet and his gown and his shoe covers, they take me in. So they lift me from the gurney I was on to the operating table. As I'm laying on that table, all of a sudden, you guys, I got the chills. I was so cold. I felt like I was, what's the best way to describe it? I felt like I was taking an ice bath. Like, my teeth would not stop. Like, it was like a constant, like, I could not control my teeth from going like that. Like, it was so bad. Like, all of a sudden, I just felt cold. I got the shivers. I freaking felt like I was naked in snow in Tahoe or something. Like, that's how cold I was. So I just remember telling someone, like, hey, like, I'm really, really cold. Can I get a blanket or something? So they passed me this blanket, and it's actually really warm. I guess that's what comes with C-sections. With all the medicine that they inject in you for the surgery, that's just the side effects that you get. You get really, really cold. So they already had a blanket prepped and ready to go for me. So they put that right on top of my chest. And mind you, I'm laying like this. My arms are out. And then they put the blue drape right in front of me, so I wouldn't see anything going on in front of me. And then Dee was on my left side. And then the person giving me all the medicine and stuff was behind me, making sure I was okay, and again that I wasn't feeling any type of pain. So they're starting the C-section already, and I just remember hearing a whole bunch of clamps. I didn't feel any pain, but I did feel a lot of tugging. It was a little bit uncomfortable, but it wasn't painful, obviously. And I just remember her pressing the top of my belly, pushing it down, and taking the baby out. Like, I felt when she took the baby out. Like, it wasn't painful or anything, but like, I felt her put pressure on my belly and take the baby out of my belly. And then I hear my baby cry for the first time. And what sucks is that I was so out of it. I was so drugged up with so many medication that I couldn't really focus on the fact that I just had a baby. Like, I remember her lifting up the baby and showing us him over the blue drape that was in front of me. But that was it. Like, everything else was such a blur. If it wasn't for my labor and delivery vlog, I wouldn't have remembered anything that happened after that. Usually they bring the baby up to your face so you can see him, but because I was so drugged up and I was so out of it, they didn't do that for me. So I was on the table and they were closing me back up, and the thing I do remember is that Dee was over there with the baby while they were cleaning him up. But while I was on the table, I just remember feeling like I was dying. Like, I could not explain it. Like, I felt so nauseous. I wanted to throw up, but I was scared to throw up because I was laying down, so I didn't want to throw up and then me choke on my throw up, so I had my face like this, and I kept trying to take deep breaths and trying to relax myself. But again, because of all of the medicine that they were putting in me, those were the side effects that came with it, and that's how it was making me feel. The feeling I felt with all that medication was just horrible, and it is not something I want to go through again, honestly. Like, I know everyone has different experiences when it comes to birth and C-sections, but that was my experience. That's what happened to me. I can honestly say I don't want to feel how I felt at that moment ever again. But if it came down to it and I really had to have another baby, I'll do it again. But right now I don't. So they close me back up, and then they push my bed out, and we head to the recovery room. And they pushed me into the room, and I just remember seeing D and the baby. And mind you guys, I'm still out of it, but the medicine is starting to wear off slowly, so I can kind of comprehend what is happening around me. And I remember them trying to give me the baby, but I kept telling them no, because I felt so weak that I was scared that I was going to drop him. And obviously I didn't want to drop my baby, so I didn't hold him for, it wasn't even a long time, it was like a couple minutes, maybe like 10-15 minutes right after the surgery. And I finally got to hold him, and I was just like, man, I did that shit. Like, I just had a baby. Like, I just kept looking at him like, I can't believe you were in my belly for 9 months. 10 months, because I was 41 weeks because he was overdue. But I was just mind blown. Like, I was just like, whoa, like, did I really just do this right now? Like, although I didn't give birth the way I hoped or planned to give birth, I still gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby boy, and I will do it 100 times over again if I had to. This was the first selfie me and Xavier took together. I remember sending that picture to my 2 best friends, Gabby and Aubriana, and my cousin Crystal. And I was like, hey, I just had him via C-section. So my baby boy is Xavier Alexander Derm. He was born on March 25th, 2020, weighing 8 pounds 13 ounces. He is the most beautiful baby human being I have ever laid my eyes on. Like, I know every mom says that, but I am so in love with my baby boy. I want to cry every time I talk about him, because he is just everything to me. Like, I truly didn't think I can be in love with a person as much as I'm in love with him. Like, I didn't think my love for someone could be that strong, and for him it is. And it's so incredible that he just turned me into a better person. So they take us out of the recovery room, and they finally put us into the postpartum room, and it's around 5 a.m. At that point, you guys, I'm still not able to move. I'm not able to get up because I still have the epidural in my system, so my legs are still numb. But I just remember I had my baby next to me. I had D on the couch over there, snoring his life away, per usual. I just remember really taking what was happening in, because the medicine finally wore off. Not the epidural, but all the medication that they put in me that made me feel drowsy finally wore off. So I just remember just really taking in that moment, having my newborn right next to me, my little family. I have a little family now. I have a family of my own, and it's still so crazy to say. So a couple hours went by after I had my surgery. It was around 10 in the morning, Wednesday, March 25th, and the nurse came in, and at that point, my epidural had worn off, which means I was able to feel my legs again, which means I was able to feel when I had to pee again. So she took my catheter out. She said, hey, let's go to the bathroom, I'll help you. And I was like, okay. But in my head, I'm like, this is gonna feel weird because I've had the epidural in for hours, like about a little, I think it was a little bit like 24 hours. So I'm like, I haven't walked in a really long time. Like, how is this gonna feel? Like, is it gonna feel weird or what? So I got up from the bed and oh my goodness, the worst pain of my life. I mean, I just had a C-section. I had a major surgery, okay? They ripped layers of my skin. But when I got up from that bed, you guys, like, I could not fully extend my body straight because I was so scared that if I did that, my incision was going to open up. So I was literally like this and in so much pain. Like, I was taking like baby steps to the bathroom. Like, it was the worst pain of my life. Like, oh my God. And obviously with the C-section, the recovery time is a lot longer than giving birth vaginally because, like I said, you did just have a major surgery. They just cut up layers of your skin. At that point, I was just recovering from my surgery. You know, they were doing all the tests that they had to do on the baby. They were checking up on me, making sure I was healing properly. But because a C-section is a longer recovery time, I didn't leave the hospital till Friday, you guys. And I was there since Monday morning and I didn't leave till Friday, almost mid-afternoon. And they still wanted to keep me another day. So I would have been there almost an entire week. Like, at that point, I was just so exhausted. I was ready to go home. I was tired of the hospital food. I was tired of the hospital bed. I was so uncomfortable. I just wanted to bring my baby to my family. So Friday came, March 27th, if I'm correct, the day we were leaving home. And at that point, I was able to walk a little bit better, but I still needed assistance. I still needed help because I couldn't do things on my own, like sit on the toilet, get up from the toilet, because I was still in so much pain. But anyways, like I said, you know, Friday came, we were getting all of our stuff ready to go home, and I just remember being so excited to finally put the baby in his going home outfit, in his little car seat, and to finally go home as a family so Xavier can meet the rest of his family waiting for him at home. So that's basically it. That's just basically everything that happened during my entire hospital stay. And I know I was only going to tell you guys what happened from the moment I stepped into the hospital, from the moment I left, but I might as well just fill you guys in on a couple of more things that, you know, happened. So I left the hospital and we got home. I'm going to be inserting a clip that my mom took when we first arrived at home, and in that clip you can still see that I was still unable to move.
Where's my baby? Facebook Live? Not Facebook Live. Oh. Just getting back from the hospital. You guys got the baby?
Sure. Try to pick it out.
Don't make me laugh.
And then I'll be inserting another clip where my family first met baby Xavier.
There's your baby coming home. This is how new moms come home after a quarantine.
You're fine. Because you just bent down.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness, my babies! Ay, mi niño hermoso! Ay, mira! Ay, cosita tan hermosa! Cosita. Tiny. He's tiny.
I was so happy to be home, you guys. I was so happy to eat regular food. You guys do not understand. So we were home, and for about maybe, I want to say 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks, I needed assistance doing everything. You know, I needed help getting into bed, getting up from bed, sitting on the toilet, getting up from the toilet, and even taking a shower. You know, I have a bath shower, so it was very difficult for me to step over the bath because of my incision and because I was still so fresh out of surgery that, you know, D had to take me a shower. Like, I couldn't scrub my legs, so he was there scrubbing my legs for me, scrubbing my back for me, helping me in and out of the shower. He was cleaning my incision for me because it took me, believe it or not, it took me a while to finally have the guts and look at my incision because I was so scared that if I looked at it, I was just going to be in more pain. Alright, you guys, so that is it for my labor and delivery story. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed telling you guys my experience and what really went down. Don't forget to give this video a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I can't wait to continue to make more content for you guys. I have a couple of videos planned out after this video goes up, so I'm excited to finally put those videos out for you guys. I will be introducing Baby X to you guys very, very soon, so stay tuned for that video. And if you don't have me on social media, don't forget to follow me on there as well because I post Xavier on there all the time, and I'm always constantly posting and updating my social media. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and my channel, and I will catch you guys at my next video. Bye.